Centuries after the fall of the Second Empire, savage nations and petty tribes competed for dwindling resources across a vast post-apocalyptic wasteland. Yet while most, born around the Fall of Bast, were destined for lives of hardship, some joined larger factions in the hopes they might offer a measure of security and stability. Among the most influential powers of Kenshi was the United Cities Empire, formed as a successor state to the Second Empire through an alliance of cities in the south and northeast of the continent. Their territories included the Hook, the Bone Fields, Storm Gap Coast, Heng, Bast, and the Great Desert. Their cities were Drifter's Last, Clownsteady, Catan, Morn, Brink, Heng, Bast, Shobatai, Stoat, Bark, and Heft. In addition to offering walled settlements defended by samurai armies, the United Cities was largely free from discrimination based on religion or race, with most citizens left alone so long as they obeyed the law. However, this state also lacked many fertile lands, and was ruled by a feudal aristocracy and overprivileged emperor who sought to increase their wealth and power at the expense of the population. Over time, the class divide grew so extreme, the nobility made poverty illegal, forcing low-income peasants out of the cities, where their only protection was the occasional samurai patrol. A corrupt slave state, they not only captured foreigners, but also abused the law to arrest their own citizens, profiting from their forced labor. Drug use was also highly illegal, with most shops refusing to buy hashish, while guards randomly searched those entering their cities. The imperial government and economy were supported and fortified by the Traders Guild out of Heng, allies of the United Cities that brought in goods during times of hardship. Yet this wasn't always enough to prevent catastrophe, like when a terrible famine struck the southern half of the empire. Although the Traders Guild sent food shipments, bandits and raiders blockaded the roads, stealing what was on its way. Making matters worse, the southern nobility fought to hoard the few goods that made it through, leaving the rest of the population to starve. Desperate to survive, citizens rose up in the Red Rebellion, leading to the death of many, including the Emperor Anzai. Eventually, the nobility crushed the uprising and selected Tengu as their new emperor, a cruel, spoiled, callous dullard meant as a puppet for the aristocracy out of the capital of Heft. Imprisoning enemies, like the assassin Luquin in Tengu's vault, the emperor ruled the United Cities with the aid of his inner circle, including Lord Inaba of Stout, Lord Yoshinaga of Heng, Lord Nagata of Shobatai, and Lady Sanda of Bark, as well as Captain Igor, a masterful warrior who led his elite army against their most dangerous enemies. Inspired by the peace, stability, and order of the Empire, a group of vigilantes formed the United Heroes League, acting as an unsanctioned paramilitary, enforcing laws as they saw fit. Yet the organization mostly focused their efforts on bullying and attacking non-humans. While the Heroes League rose to defend the United Cities, the brutal, corrupt slave state more often inspired rebellion, which they faced from Boss Simeon and his rebel farmers in Sinkun to the north, former peasants and slaves who fled the empire and now survived through banditry. Then there was the slave rebellion that liberated the city of Morn in the Bone Fields, turning it into a largely free settlement under the influence of tech hunters. The United Cities also fought the anti-slavers of Spring in Stobe's Gamble, led by the legendary warrior Tinfist, former friend of cat-lon, ruler of the Second Empire, as well as Valamon's Reavers of the Ark in Stobe's Garden, a faction of vicious slavers who wished to overthrow and replace the lazy, corrupt nobility of the United Cities to form a more efficient and competently administered government. In addition to these many enemies, the United Cities was also in a constant state of war with the cannibal tribes of the West, and was recently invaded by the Holy Nation when the city of Bast was destroyed, leaving the region an active war zone. Once a growing cult in the Second Empire, the Okronites of the Holy Nation rebelled against their skeleton masters and founded a realm in the fertile lands at the center of the continent. These territories included Okran's Gulf, Okran's Pride, the Arms of Okran, Okran's Valley, and Rebirth, establishing the cities of Bad Teeth, Stack, and their capital Blister Hill. According to their beliefs, humans long ago lost faith in their great and powerful god Kitrin, yet when a horrifying calamity arose, they repented and begged Kitrin's help. A merciful deity, he forgave his children and sacrificed his life to cleanse the planet of sickness. Kitrin was then reborn in two forms: Okran, the god of day, warmth, and renewal, associated with human males, and Narko, god of night, cold, and destruction, who represented females and non-humans. Much of the cult's early history revolved around peace, personal responsibility, and kindness to others, but over time, their more extreme elements gained authority, discriminating against servants of Narko, who they blamed for the first extinction, an event in the ancient past which nearly wiped out humanity. In addition to hating technology, they developed a racial hierarchy where Greenlander and Scorchlander males were considered clean children of Okran, while human females required taming and were treated as property. Shek were seen as corrupted, beastly humans who could be redeemed through the purification of slavery, while Hivers were also thought to be former humans, now so far gone into their beastly transformation they could only be enslaved or their lives ended as a mercy. Soulless skeletons were entirely irredeemable and should be killed on sight. Ruled by the Holy Phoenix, a lawgiver and champion of Okran, his spirit lived on by passing into the first male child born after his death. Under this theocratic government, the Holy Nation discriminated against women, enslaved non-humans, and forced religion upon their citizens. Yet they also offered walled cities protected by a fearsome army, with fertile lands providing plenty of food and water. A powerful slave state, the Holy Nation believed in purification through forced labor, sending captives to many sites throughout their lands, including Rebirth, an enormous mining camp where many toiled until death under a giant statue of Okran. Provoking rebellion with their brutality, the Holy Nation Outlaws of the Border Zone and Hub formed from exiled citizens and former slaves, some of whom continued to worship Okran, but believed the Holy Phoenix and his followers corrupted the religion. There were also the Flotsam Ninjas of the Hidden Forest to the north, composed largely of women and slaves who escaped the Holy Nation. Led by Maul, they trained by fighting nearby cannibal tribes, increasing their might to one day challenge the Holy Nation. They too believed in their own version of Okran, which did away with the discrimination against women. In addition to facing rebel groups, the Holy Nation warred with the northern cannibal tribes, the Shek Kingdom of the South, and invaded the United Cities with the destruction of Bast, ending a long stretch of peace between these states. At the time of the invasion of Bast, the Holy Nation followed the 62nd Holy Phoenix, a leader so devout that at the age of 16, he sentenced his own family to be purged in fire. The Holy Phoenix was aided by High Inquisitor Seta of Stack and High Inquisitor Valtenna of the Okran's Shield military camp, as well as the elite Wrath of God army sent against their fiercest foes. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Tamika the Black Wolf, Faith the Wandering Huntress, the Emperor of Mankind, and Tom Moonstruck Waters. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos, vote on future content, and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.